the cast diagram. The cast diagram tells you whether a trig ratio is positive or negative for any given angle. So your angle could be a positive angle, it could be acute, so between 0 and 90, between 90 and 180, so it could be obtuse, or it could be a reflex angle between 180 and 360. Your angle could be positive or negative. On these graphs we have the trig ratio on the vertical axis and angles on the horizontal axis. And for acute angles, so angles between 0 and 90 degrees, we can see that the cosine, sine and tan ratios are all positive because the graph is above the x-axis. So between 0 and 90 in this quadrant, the first quadrant, all of the ratios, that's what the A stands for here, that all of the ratios, that's cos, sine and tan, give you a positive ratio. For obtuse angles between 90 and 180 degrees, cosine is below the x-axis, negative cosine ratio. Sine is above the x-axis, positive sine ratios. Tan is below, negative tan ratios. So sine is the only one that's positive now, hence the S for quadrant 2. For reflex angles, so we'll start looking at angles between 180 and 270 first. Cosine is negative, sine is negative, only tan is positive. The graph in this region between 180 and 270 degrees is above the x-axis, so positive tan ratios here. Hence, in the third quadrant, we have the letter T representing only tan being positive. And continuing with reflex angles between 270 and 360 degrees, only cosine is above the x-axis, so only the cosine ratio is positive. Sine and tan are both negative. So in quadrant 4, we see the letter C representing that only cosine has a positive ratio. Now this is also true for negative angles. So if I had an angle of minus 20 degrees, the cosine ratio would be positive. Sine and tan for minus 20 degrees would be negative. For an angle of minus 120 degrees, only tan is positive. Minus 240 degrees, only sine would have a positive ratio, and so on.